getting that wreck as a young hoe.
Like we always do.
Hell yeah.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to introduce you guys to my lenses and we're going to get right down to it. So before I start though, I want to let you guys know, for all the beginning shooters out there, I want you guys to know what kind of camera you have. Do you have a full sensor? Do you have a crop sensor? Because there's mathematics involved if you have a crop sensor. Alright, so let's get to it. So this is my 35mm kit lens. All that has on there is a auto and a manual button on there, and that's it. It doesn't have any other information on there. It's a very bottom of the line lens, but this was the lens that I started with. How did I know that I had a kit lens? Well, I was using this lens from the very beginning. It came with my camera. As I was learning photography and videography, a lot of the people that were shooting on YouTube that I was gravitating towards were saying that 35mm is the safest focal length. You know, it's like it's kind of like a very kid-friendly focal length because you can't really mess that up. You know, a 50, it's a little bit different. You know, it requires probably a little bit more skill, but the 35, you don't have to have any skill. You can just point, focus, shoot, boom, done. So I felt a lot more safer with the 35mm. So lucky for me, I had a 35mm lens right here in my bag. So I said, okay, let's go. So after weeks and weeks of learning and watching and studying, I decided to go out to an event. And I take my 35mm and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is going to be a good day. So I get out there and I put my lens on and I'm ready to go. You know, I have 4 extra batteries for the day. I'm ready, man, locked and loaded. And I turn on my camera and I realize that everything is like zoomed in. And I'm looking for the zoom button because this is my very first time using a DSLR in the field. So I don't know that this is not a telephoto lens, so you can't zoom in and out. So I'm just kind of like thrown back a little bit. Like, why is everything so zoomed in? So I had to stand back. And everything was starting to look good when I stood back. So I said, okay, just keep your distance. Later to find out that I had a crop sensor and my 35 was actually a 52. And when I started looking at the Nifty 50 videos, it made all the sense. All right, so I had to learn the hard way, but I learned. When I started watching the Nifty 50 videos, I can relate because I had the 52mm sitting. I shot a whole event with it without even knowing. So one of the things about doing things like hands-on without really knowing, just kind of getting out there and experimenting, is when you start to learn, you'll start to reference your own experiences, like, oh, that's what that was, you know. FYI for you guys out there. So don't use all of your time binge learning. Learn something and then get out in the field and put it to use. You know, you'll learn some things out there as well. And then as you advance, different level of photographers, they'll say things and you could be like, oh yeah, that happened to me. And you'll feel this like connection. But anyways, so as I'm learning more photography, more videography, a lot of people are suggesting for beginning photographers to go on eBay and get vintage lenses because they're cheaper and they're very well made. So I call myself going to a camera store and saying, well, I'm gonna go see what they have in there. And they had lenses, all right, but the cheapest one was $350. So I said, all right, let's go to eBay. Let's see what it do. So I go on eBay. After understanding that I have a crop sensor, I know the math now. So in order for me to get a 35 millimeter frame, I have to get a 24 millimeter. So I went and got my Nikon Nikkor 24 millimeter vintage lens, my very first one. This is a very well-made lens, very heavy. It has an aperture ring on it. You can open it up. So one of the downsides to vintage lenses is that it doesn't communicate with your body, with your modern body. I have a Nikon D3200, and I think it came out in like 2012. It fits, but it doesn't communicate. My camera says if I try to put it in like an aperture mode or shutter mode, my camera's not going to read it. It detects that there's no lens attached, so I have to shoot it in manual mode. Well, when I started photography or videography, I shot manual anyways because I like to lock in my own focus. So I felt like, well, that's the exchange, that's the trade-off. Well, you can have this 30-year-old lens with 30-year-old real glass in it, and the construction of it very well made, but you just can't shoot any of the auto settings. And I felt like, well, I shoot manual anyway, so let's go with it. So $50 later, I got this lens, and it's been my favorite lens ever since I got it. And I put a black pro mist filter 1/8 on there just to give it that little ooh wee. All right, so my next one of the experiences that I had with I have a kit telephoto lens, and I was out there, it was during daytime. And one of the things that I noticed was when I zoomed in, I had to change the ISO, and I had to change my settings on my camera. When I zoomed out, I had to change my ISO again. So I was like, I don't want to keep changing because it creates anxiety when you're not fully knowledgeable of what you're doing or the tools that you're using. Certain problems become anxiety, it raises stress. So I was like, I don't want to keep changing my settings every single time I zoom in and out. And perhaps it was probably because of the day, maybe the environment. I went from shady areas to sunny areas. I mean, all that stuff played a part, right? So, but it turned me down from telephoto lenses. I was like, I don't want to use this lens. In fact, I think I sold one of them. And now I kind of regret it because now I understand how to use them. But anyhow, during the time where I call myself being against telephoto lenses, I knew that I wanted to shoot closer. So I did some research on YouTube. And because I found the vintage lens on eBay, I was just like, well, maybe if I could just search another vintage lens on eBay, then maybe I'll find a focal length that's a little bit more tighter, more closer, or further. So I found the 105 millimeter Nikon Nikkor vintage lens. I got this for about $75, let's say $80. And this is an aged lens with aged glass, and it's very well made. It's very heavy. It comes with a little hood, little built-in hood, so the sun don't interrupt. It has the aperture ring also and a bunch of information on there. And this also, you have to shoot in manual mode. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of the photos that came out of that. So now we're talking about, I'm not even a full 12 months into photography, right? But I've learned a lot. I'm learning a lot. I'm studying from film photographers as well as digital photographers. So I say, you know what? I want to go even closer. I have a couple of buddies who have kids and grandkids at this point, and some of them are in sports. And I was just like, what if I shot their like kid in sports? I need something closer. The 105, I'll put the information on the screen. I don't know by heart. The 105 is like 150, I think, on my camera, right? It's pretty nice. But if I did sports, I thought, well, maybe I need something that gets closer so I could be back off the field, So I realized that I had a kit lens left that I didn't sell yet. So I looked at it and it was like, it's a 55 to 200. So this is another basic 55 to 200. All it has is manual and auto. Now the 55, you have to remember that I have a crop sensor, so that 55 goes up to like a 75 roughly. I'll put the information on the screen. And then the 200 turns into a 300 on my crop sensor. So that was like, I was very happy about that. So immediately, now when I first used this, I was in the very beginning stages, and that's where I was turned off by the setting changes. And then as I started learning how to use my camera, started learning how to use the ISO, and learning how to change certain settings on my camera, I felt a little bit more confident about using this again, giving it another shot, because now this 200 is a 300 on my camera and I can use it for sports. So I go outside immediately and I just zoom it, boom, and I take a shot, and I'm like, yes, now I know how to use it. Now I'm not so, anxiety is not coming up anymore. I don't get stressed anymore. I feel very confident now where to go on my camera to change and make them instantly. Also, this is auto. It has auto mode because it's a kit lens. It goes with my camera. My camera's able to auto shoot with it if I need it. I still don't like auto though. It doesn't give you that crispy lock-in. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But I don't trust it. So then I started getting into the fisheye photography, right? Well, I shouldn't say I was getting into the fisheye photography. I've always liked fisheye photography. So I started looking into the fisheye lenses, and I realized that the very low end, they cost about $250, $350 and up. So I said, well, I don't have the budget for that. So I went out and I bought the adapter, from Amazon. This was about $40. Now I have another video with this explaining this over there, so you guys go check it out if you guys are interested. But it's the next best thing. So when I put this on my 50 mil, it changes the focal length on that. It widens it a little bit. When I put it on my 24, which is technically a 36 on my camera, it gives me the tube, the ring, the barrel. And then when I put it on my 55 to 200, it also expands. It gives me like a wide shot. I don't know if I should give you guys an example of that. Maybe I should. I'm already talking about it. I will. I'll put some photos up there and I'll explain on what lens this is on and what it looks like. All right, you guys. But that's it, man. I want to just introduce you guys to my lenses. Like I said, this is for beginner photographers. Some of you guys are advanced, and you guys, this is all useless information. But every now and then it's good to go back and learn from different YouTube guys, because we all share a different perspective and we all find certain information to be valuable. So like some guys don't share certain things because they don't think it's valuable, versus me, I'm just sharing with you guys what I thought was helpful for me and what was valuable for me, and I hope that is valuable for you. All right, guys, so I hope you guys got something out of this, man. See you guys next time. Don't forget to comment, ask questions, speak your piece. If you guys have any additional information to help me, or if you guys need help, tap in, hit like, subscribe. You guys know the drill, man. All right, see you guys next time. Peace.